Brian Rosendahl here. I'm the host of the Fit Growth Machine podcast, where I talk with top leaders in the fitness industry. Before introducing today's guest, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by BSR Digital. At BSR Digital, we help fitness brands that want to scale their business to the next level through Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. BSR Digital knows that most e-commerce brands want to grow their sales, but they lack a solid plan and professional team to help them succeed. That's why BSR Digital offers strategic plans, implementation, optimization, and account audits to help more than 1,000 e-commerce brands like yours grow their businesses and surpass their competitors. To learn more, visit bsrdigital.com, or you can email us at hello@bsrdigital.com. So today I have an awesome guest. His name is Tanner Larson. He's the founder of Build, Grow, Scale, and he's also the author of the best-selling book, E-Commerce Evolved. Hey, Tanner, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And before we get started, I just wanted to give a shout out to Ian Garlic from Authentic Web because we met thanks to him, right?
Yeah, Ian's a good buddy. Basically, the biggest thing to understand about Ian Garlic and myself is that Ian is very short and I am very tall. And that's about the only thing. Hopefully he hears that, because that's the only thing we need to know.
Oh, I understand it's the other way around, right?
Yeah, he's at least a good 1.5 feet taller. I have to look up to meet his eyes. But we have a picture that keeps floating around that all of our friends keep sharing, where it just looks the opposite. It looks like I'm finally taller than him, and it just trick of the way the photography was taken. But we always float that picture. So
yeah, I'm also not so tall, so I tell my wife I'm not short. I'm normal. I'm average height. So please, not call me short or anything like that. So I feel
my wife's not allowed to wear high heels around me because she gets taller than me if she puts her heels on.
Same happens to me. My wedding, I was like, okay. So yeah, I hear you. See, anyway, Ian, thanks a lot for this intro. It was awesome. So so today we have a very tactical episode. I'll enjoy personally this one a lot. I enjoy all episodes, but this one in particular, I'm in this field and I have a lot of questions myself, right? And I'm sure the audience they have a lot of questions as well. So why don't we start by addressing what your business does?
Sure. So my company is called Build, Grow, Scale, and we are an e-commerce optimization and data company. So we don't run ads, we don't source products, although we know how to do those things. That's not our expertise. We figured out that our special sauce, secret sauce in e-commerce, after running our own brands and helping clients and consulting and everything else, was specifically data optimization and using what we learn in the data to optimize and grow stores and help them scale. So we're kind of you could call us the behind the scenes growth partner of some of the brands, big brands that, you're like, man, what really, all of a sudden they were here and then now they're skyrocketing. Well, that's where we come in the background and we basically make everything they're doing work way better. We make their paid advertising work better. We make their profitability better. And our ultimate goal is making more money wind up in the owner's pocket at the end of the day, which is kind of a struggle in today's world of e-com.
Awesome. And to help the audience better understand what you do, how do you help them get their paid ads, among other things, work better?
Sure. So the first thing I would say on that is not so much what we do, but this is the paid advertising dilemma that everybody seems to have and what goes on in the world. So there's an e-com brand or a fitness brand in your guys' case or whatever that says, man, we've been doing okay. We want to grow bigger. We're going to hire an advertising agency. And then they go hire this advertising agency and they say, I need a 3X or 4X ROAS, or I need my MCR to be this or whatever. And then the advertising agency goes to work running ads, and the store owner or the business owner wonders why the ad agency is not a magician, why things aren't working, why things are struggling, why they can't magically give me a 15X ROAS. And they start blaming the ad agency for everything. Now, in some cases, it is the ad agency's fault. But in most cases, you need to look in a mirror, because an ad agency can't work miracles. they can only work with what they get. And the ad agency's job is to get traffic, get a click, and you have that click land on your website. Everything that happens after that point is your fault, the store owner's fault. Okay. And that's where the problem is. All right. What happens after the click, once they land on your site, that's where the sale, the business, the money is lost. Okay. Now, if you think about this, with ads, you got one click. That's all you got to focus on. Where on the store, once they land on your store or on your website, there are 4 to 6 or more clicks that have to happen before a conversion is made, before a sale is made, before a call is booked. Okay. Yet everybody focusing on that one click versus the 4 to 6 other clicks that are more important. That's what we do. So we focus on optimizing the on-site buyer's journey. And actually we do off-site as well, like into the back end and everything. But our job is to make the store work or the website work. Now, the example here, the best way to, I got 2 examples, both of them, one works for some people, one works for the other. The first example is in terms of starvation. Everybody feels, I just need more traffic. If I could just get more traffic, I'd make more money. Okay. Well, that's not true. Okay. You're not starving. Your business, your ad agency is getting traffic to your website. The problem is you can't digest the traffic your website is getting into sales. All right. So you have a digestion problem, not a starvation problem. Okay. If you were starving, that would mean you can't get anybody to visit your website. That is a problem, but not if you're hiring a media agency, okay, or running your own ads. To turn on some new ads, increase your budget, target a new audience, boom, you have traffic, you're not starving. The problem is the digestion. You can't digest, okay? So your job, and the example there is you have 100 visitors hit your store. The average e-commerce conversion rate is around 1.5 to 2%. That's being generous, but we'll say 2%. So 2 people out of 100 buy. Your answer is, let's go get 100 more people. That's just stupid, okay? Because you're not digesting the traffic that you are getting. Our answer is, hey, we have 100 people coming to the store, only 2 are buying. How do we make that 2 a 4, a 5, an 8, a 10? How do we maximize the traffic we're already getting? And that's how you can 2 to 3x a business basically overnight by fixing that element. The other example, I'm just going to throw these out there because this can be a major light bulb for people. And I want you guys to really get it. So the optimization side of things, your business is a bucket. Okay. The water that you pour into the bucket is your traffic. The water that stays in the bucket is your sales. Okay. Now in a perfect world, you pour traffic into the bucket, the water level rises, you keep a lot of money, you're super happy. But that's not the real world. The real world is your bucket is poked full of holes. It's leaking all over the place. So you're pouring water in, pouring traffic in, and it's just leaking out. Now, the water that leaks out is lost opportunity, lost sales, and wasted money, wasted ad spend, okay? Marketing dollars. Now, here's the thing. Most people's businesses look more like a strainer than they do a bucket. And these leaks that I'm talking about are things like bounce rate, slow page load, poor description, poor copy, bugs, or confusing link structure, confusing navigation structure, complicated cart, unoptimized cart, bad checkout. There's like hundreds of these different leaks that happen on a business. Now, if you think about this again, now this is what we do, right? We have these businesses, we know it's leaking. We know we're only getting 2 sales out of 100. We know we're wasting most of our ad spend, especially in this post-iOS environment. The ad agencies know it too, but they can't do anything about it. But your answer is to yell at the ad agency or yourself and say, get more traffic, get cheaper CPMs, but you're not fixing the root problem. Now, in the real world, if I said, hey, I have a swimming pool here and a swimming pool here. This one's full of water, this one's empty. Here's a bucket. Your job is to fill the empty pool with the bucket. And that bucket that I give you is full of holes. And I tell you that if you lose any water, you're done, you lose. So would you take that bucket full of holes, go to the pool, fill it up, run over to the other pool and dump it in? No, you wouldn't. Not even a 5-year-old would do that because they know that they can't afford to lose the water. What would they do? Go get some duct tape, do something, find a better bucket, patch the leaks before moving the water from one place to the other. Now that's us in the real world, the offline world. In the business online world, We're stupid. We say, yep, bucket's leaking. We know it is, but the answer is to get more traffic or cheaper traffic rather than patch the leaks. So that's what we do. Our business model is we have Google Analytics engineers, Google Analytics data scientists. We have revenue optimization experts, developers, everything. And we go in and we optimize every single page and stage of the buyer's journey on both the front end and into the back end of the business. And that's how you take a store without changing a single bit of their ad spend or anything else on the front end or on the advertising side. And we come in and work our magic. And in 90 days, we 2 to 3 or 4x the business from the advertising that they're already doing. Okay. So that was a long-winded explanation of what we do, but it's not just us. I want every business out there listening to this, every one of the people who listens to your podcast or hires you or whatever, to realize they've got a leaky bucket on their hands and it's their job to patch it so that you can do your job.
Yeah, no, I mean, that all was amazing. Thank you for that. That provides a lot of value for sure. And I think here's what I think. When you have the let's say the leaky bucket in your example, every human being knows that the bucket is leaky, right? Because we identify the holes in it and all stuff. But most e-commerce store owners are ignorant when it comes to identifying whether a bucket is leaky or not, because I've been getting as an agency many comments like, hey, I get 100 customers and only one is buying. That's wrong. I'm getting 100 customers and only 10 are buying, or 5 are buying, or it's like, or 80% of people abandon the cart. Why is that? Do we have traffic problems? Is it the quality of the audiences? And although the cause is my very or vary depending on the scenario, I think that they don't know what to expect as like you said it at first, 1 to 2% being positive or optimistic for a conversion rate without an e-commerce, without optimized e-commerce, let's say, right? Well, I think from my experience, they don't know that. And they don't know if they can get to 5, 6. I mean, they would love to, but I think it's like more of ignorance than, I mean, they don't know what to expect. That's the thing, right? So
correct.
How do you educate them? Because I think it's that lack of education, let's say, on what to expect.
Yeah. Well, so one of the things is, what we do, we call what we do revenue optimization. Okay. We own the trademark on it. We coined the term years and years ago. A lot of other people say they do revenue optimization now, but they're literally copying us. We kind of pioneered that, but other people will say, oh, all you're doing is conversion rate optimization under a different name. Okay. Now there is some truth to some aspects of that, because we do, we started with conversion rate optimization. That's where we first figured out how to start optimizing our own stores and things like that. But what we learned, especially when we started digging really far into the data and everything else, that CRO was a very tunnel vision approach to optimization, and it left a lot of stuff on the table. Okay. From an example, I can optimize your conversion rate. Let me cut your price by 90%. I guarantee you your conversion will go up. But does that help you? No. Now, I'm not saying most CRO experts are going to do that, but that's the kind of the tunnel vision approach of conversion rate in our world is actually more of a vanity metric. It's not the end all be all metric. Okay. Now, the reason we say that is people will say, oh, you got to have a 4+% conversion rate. Okay. Maybe. It depends on what you're selling. What's your price point? We have a client of ours that sells body armor. Okay. They're an amazing body armor company. They came to us with a 0.3 conversion rate. We got them to a 0.89, and we're just now approaching up to a 1% conversion rate. And they're doing tens of millions of dollars a month, and they're crushing it. They're so happy because why? Well, their product sells for $2,000 to $4,000. Okay. Now another client of ours sells a dog product that is $35. She has an 8% conversion rate. Okay. Year round, it'll skyrocket into the 10s through Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We have another company that sells apparel. They fluctuate between a 7.5% to 8.5% conversion rate pretty much year round. And then again, 10% through the fourth quarter. Their average order value is about $60. Okay. We have a furniture store that's in our program, in our Ecom Insider program. her conversion rate is about 0.5%. That's really good for a furniture store. So it depends, but the conversion rate's only one step of the problem. From there, it's your average order value, it's your lifetime customer value, it's your 60-day, your 90-day LTV, it's your revenue per user, it's your, and then you have all the different drop-offs. See, people think that their conversion rate is their only drop-off point. Well, 100 people got to my checkout page and 1% purchased, one person purchased. That's not how it works. When you buy 100 clicks to your website, they land wherever you send them, right? Now, of that 100 people, a big chunk of them are going to bounce. Now, some people say, I have a 0% bounce rate. You're full of shit. The best bounce rate you're ever going to see in the world is probably somewhere in the 30s to maybe 40% range. But most e-commerce stores and websites, unoptimized, have an 80+% bounce rate. So out of 100 people, if 80% bounce rate, that means only 20 of the 100 are actually sticking around to check out your offer. That's your first big leak, okay? Now, bounce rate's affected by your page load time and all kinds of other things, right? But so right there, you're losing 80% of your people. Of that 20, let's say they're hitting the product page, you're gonna lose some people to the fact that your product copy is weak or sucks, or your image sucks, or you don't have it, doesn't answer all the questions and overcome all the objections that they need in order to make an add to cart decision. So you'll lose some people there. Then you'll get some people into the cart, and then you'll lose some people there. And then a finite small amount will click the proceed to checkout button and wind up on the checkout page. And from there, you'll lose a few more based on an unoptimized checkout page. So you're not getting 100 people to the checkout. You're getting 100 clicks and you're losing people. You're leaking out those visitors at every step of the process. So you could have now that's the other thing. Conversion rate can be calculated different ways. Conversion rate by the total number of visitors, by certain other metrics, right? So you could actually have a much higher conversion rate if you extracted and counted out the people who bounced. We only check the conversion rate from the people who actually stuck on the site. Well, what's that? Well, maybe my conversion rate's 9% there or whatever. Now, the conversion rates I told you about, the 7, the 4, the 8% kind of stuff, that's global conversion rate. That's what happens when your store is really dialed in. But the important thing that you need to do and be aware of and not be ignorant of is that every single step of the process has leaks. And that's what like you said, most people don't know that. They don't realize that people are dropped, like if they have a low add to cart percentage, that means that everything else is going to be affected. Some people will optimize the add to cart and they do this amazing product page and it works out great. Their add to cart rate goes from 4% to 10%. Phenomenal. But if your cart and your checkout is still broken, that benefit that you gain on the product page gets lost before they purchase.
Yeah. And can I ask you, how can any business store owner listening, how can they know if they have a problem, if they have a leaky backup?
Yep. So the first, if you're on Shopify for one, Shopify is vanity metrics, guys. You can get a little bit of data there, but it's not really that accurate. Okay. The only real way you're going to know what's happening on your store is through Google Analytics. Okay. There's a couple other data platforms that are launching now that are trying to compete with it that eventually may do better, may do great. But right now, the only one out there, the gold standard, is Google Analytics. The problem is it's technical. Nobody knows how to set it up. And if you set it up wrong, because you just click in there and you think you're doing it right, it will not tell you that it's wrong because Google thinks that's what you want. So it will return data to you that is wrong, that is poor, that is basically corrupt data. And you're trying to make decisions off this data, but you won't know that it's corrupt, which is very dangerous. Okay. So you're making decisions off bad data. But the only way to find this stuff out is to use Google Analytics, set up proper goal path tracking where it'll basically track each of the steps in your process, and it will show where the drop-offs are, what the percentages are at each level. And you can go, oh man, I got a big problem here at the cart. Then I can go figure out how to fix that. How do you fix that? Well, you optimize it. How do you optimize it? I mean, that's where you need to read this. But the simple answer is what we do. Okay, we're looking at our goal path. Now, first of all, we already know what to do in a lot of cases. We already know what works and what doesn't. But assuming we don't, we're going to look at our goal path in Google Analytics. We're going to see all the different stuff, the funnel tracking, and we're going to say, oh, man, there's a big drop off from the cart, people not reaching checkout. Okay, what's happening in the cart? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go watch a bunch of session recordings using like a Lucky Orange software or a Clarity or a Hotjar or something like that, and heat mapping. And we're going to watch a few thousand session recordings. And we're going to see what are people doing in the cart. Okay. And then based on what they're doing, hopefully we're going to identify an issue or something that we notice that we can then hypothesize a test on and go change that in the cart to see if it makes an increase in reach checkout. It's the same process you do all the way through anywhere on the store. Now, the other place we do is we'll hypothesize tests based on stuff that we already know. See, the thing that we have that most people don't is we've been doing this for a long time. And we have a partner program where we are the back end of between 20 and 30 of some of the biggest e-com platforms or stores in the market running their data. So we're turning over $25 million, a month minimum in new sales, tens and tens of thousands of transactions, millions of dollars of ad spend. All that data we're collecting on all these different stores. We're running tests, we're analyzing it. We got a team of 70 people that do this nonstop. So we've amassed this major data library of what works and what doesn't. And when we have something that works, we test it across all the stores in our network to see, does it work? It worked on the supplement store. Does it work on the knitting store? Does it work on the pet store? So we have that, and that allows us to iterate faster and help these brands achieve more. But either way, we still go off the data, whatever Google Analytics is telling us, what our tag manager data is showing us. And that's what every store owner should do. What I don't recommend is that a store owner or a business owner become an expert at how to set up Google Analytics and Tag Manager. That's a rabbit hole nobody needs to go down. Hire somebody who knows their shit. Make sure they actually know their shit. Hire them, get it done, and then learn how to read the data that comes out. That's the win for a store, not setting it up yourself. You'll hate your life, you'll get it wrong, and you'll quit, basically.
Yeah. And you said that you do revenue optimization, and that's, of course, more that CRO and that the conversion rate is a vanity metric, and that revenue is actually really important. So most business owners or e-commerce store owners, they want to make the most profit as possible from the first sale, right? But is that all there is?
No. So let's 2 years ago, maybe even 9 to 12 months ago, that was still possible in a very decreasing capacity. So that's a front end focused business where you're trying to extract your profit, your cost of acquisition, your cost of goods, your operating expenses, everything out of that one sale. And you're trying to also have money to go buy your Ferrari and your McMansion and all that stuff, right? And put your kids into private school and all that stuff. That's stupid. Okay. It's impossible. Okay. Now, in some cases, it was doable for a while. There's a small profit left over, but smart businesses know that real profit and actual value and growth happens at the second and third sale and beyond. Okay. Now, in today's environment, post iOS 14, we're in the middle of 15 in this, it is impossible. Pretty much. I mean, I'm sure there's always going to be an outlier, but for 99.9999% of the cases, it is impossible to be profitable on a front-end focused business. You have to have LTV. You have to have repeat purchase rate. You have to have people buying second, 3, 4, 5 times in your the more the better, right? Now, the scary thing about e-commerce in general is we look at thousands of e-com businesses and funnel businesses and different things like that a year. The scary thing is that the vast majority of them, their average order value, their AOV is almost equal to their LTV. Okay. So what does that mean? Average order value is the average amount of money you collect on a single sale, right? LTV is the lifetime customer value of what a customer is worth to you. Now, if your AOV and LTV are anywhere close to each other, that means nobody's buying more than once. Okay. That is not a successful business. That is not a scalable business. Now, the really cool thing to get you thinking about this is if you're doing okay, you're surviving with a front-end focused business, or even if you're not, by implementing a back end into your business, and a back end which is designed to get people to purchase again and again and again, even 1 or 2 extra times, you can double or triple the size of your business almost overnight with a marginal increase in cost, because there's not advertising cost with it. Your marginal increase in cost comes from potential overhead increases and cost of goods sold, right? Don't believe me? All right. Let's say if I could get every single one of your customers to buy one more time right now, what would happen? Your business would double, right? What if I could get half of your customers to buy again? Well, then it went up to 0.5, right? It went 50% growth. That's easy. You can do that, but you have to, but people don't spend the time because they don't treat business like a real business. They treat it like a cash grab or an income stream. You need that repeat purchase rate. The second purchase and third purchase, that's the gold, because that you already paid the acquisition cost. There's more profit, there's more money after that. Okay, and then you can optimize all the other aspects to kind of increase. If your average order value goes up, your second and third order value goes up as well, lifetime value increases. I like to see on average a 4x minimum LTV to AOV disparity, right? So 4x your AOV should be your LTV at a minimum. And if you're not there, if you're more than that, phenomenal, you're amazing. And you probably still have other areas that you can focus on reinforcing. But if you don't have that, that should be your focus.
That's awesome. And how can businesses achieve that? I mean, through what, let's say, mediums? I mean, I guess that email marketing is a great one, but is that
That's
the
the
only
easiest. No, that's not the only one, but God, that's so easy. If you people say email's dead. That's the stupidest thing. Is email struggling right now? Yes, with iOS 15, we're having some struggles, but it's still going to work. Okay. You can set up automated email flows that, hey, customer bought, here's an interesting statistic. This is one of the first things you should do. 15% on average of your customers are willing to make a second purchase before receiving their first purchase that they just bought. Okay. What are you doing to encourage that 15% to buy again? Are you giving a new customer discount? Are you doing a, second sale promo? What are you doing for that? But all of that, you could have automated campaigns set up. Hey, customer bought product A, they bought my water pitcher. Okay. Or they bought, and then have an automated campaign that goes out. Hey, you need replacement filters, or here's a subscription for the filters. Or, if they're buying some kind of consumable product, what's their reorder date? When can they do that? Hey, people who buy product A also typically wind up buying product B. Okay, set up a campaign that pushes that, or set up basic campaigns that just promos every one of your products to every person that doesn't own it in an automated fashion. But you do it in such a way that it's tag based, so that they're not getting hammered with a whole bunch of promos at once. It goes through kind of a sequential flow based on the actions they take when they join your customer list. It sounds complicated, but it's really not that bad, especially when you use platforms like autoresponder platforms, ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, Constant Contact, GetResponse, all these different platforms that are out there. Entreport, I'd say Infusionsoft. I use Infusionsoft in my business. I absolutely hate Infusionsoft. So they have all the money in the world, and they're still one of the worst companies in terms of taking care of their customers and delivering. So there's my rant on that. If you're using them and you're not married to them, switch. But their email is not great. But Klaviyo for e-com is great. Constant Contact, Entreport, all those other ones are great. They all allow you to do exactly that.
We'll put them in the show notes for you guys to get.
Yes, yeah. And it depends on your CRM. What are you using to what one makes sense for you? If you're on a Shopify, the only one that makes sense is Klaviyo. But if you're not an e-com store and you're a funnel business or whatever, it's whatever integrates the best with what you're doing.
Yeah.
You could say email.
Yes,
sorry. So email is one. SMS is another. You know what else works insanely well right now and has forever, but nobody does it? Direct mail. You only direct mail your existing customers. Think about this, guys. Who gets mail anymore?
Yeah, nobody. To Jesse Stein at audience.co. They do exactly that. It's like handwritten notes it's like a MailChimp but direct mail. Yep. And it's that email is so crowded, right? But mail isn't as crowded as email, right? and
It
people
can be
keep.
as simple as sending a postcard. You know, the handwritten notes is amazing. That can be prohibitive in a large volume operation. But just, okay, customer bought this. Send them an email or a postcard saying, hey, thanks, here's 30% off your next order. Here's 10% off your next order, or get this free when you order your replacement filters or something like that. Or new product release, only sending this out to our best customers. So
Yeah,
simple, but high return.
yeah, exactly. No, these guys have robots to write the handwritten notes,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
I've
look.
seen that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's
So
crazy.
big
It
shout
looks,
out
it
to
looks like
Jesse.
handwriting. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks exactly the same, and it's awesome to reach customers in a different way, unexpected way, and people actually uh, keep them because it's like
They love
something
it.
that it's not an email they are cheap or delete or whatever. It's something, it's nice. You keep the postcards that you receive in general. So
Well,
that's.
they also, we have had a client of ours. She basically made custom cell phone cases with her art on it. Okay. And she did pretty well. She was a multi 7-figure business. And then she's still doing it. I'm not saying she was doing really well, but she hand wrote thank you notes to her customers. And she did it up until, like, it became almost insane for her to be able to keep up with the volume. She was doing thousands of orders a day and she couldn't keep up with it. So she started, like, getting people to write the note, and then she would, sign it or whatever else, and try to all kinds of different things. But the thing was, one of the things that spurred her growth and really got people coming back to her was that people started sharing those thank you notes. They started telling their friends about them. They started posting them on social media. And it's like, well, cell phone case is a commodity. It totally is. But she put a spin on it that made people want to come buy from her.
Yeah, that's awesome. And speaking about customer loyalty and customer happiness and taking care of them, uh, I would love to address something really important nowadays in a crowded market. There are many commerce stores with the pandemic, even more, right? And social proof is really important. Getting customers' testimonials and many other things like social proof come in different forms, right? So, what do you see there?
Man, social proof is critical. I always make a joke about it. People are like, oh, well, reviews don't really make that much of a difference. And I say, okay, how do you feel about Amazon reviews? Do you use them? Well, of course I do. That's the first thing I do. I go look at the bad reviews on Amazon. Okay, so they're quite important. They have the same thing on your stores. But the funny thing is, especially if you sell to a female demographic, and this isn't just for females, but this is my funny example. You sell clothing, you sell high-end dresses or whatever, and the lady who's shopping, she is going to an event, a black tie affair, ball gown event. She wants to be the only woman in that room wearing that dress. Nobody else can look like her. But when she goes to buy the dress from a store, she does not want to be the only person who's bought that dress. Okay,
Exactly.
it doesn't make any sense. But if you think about it, nobody wants to go the road less traveled. She wants to buy this dress. She wants to know that she's going to get it. It's going to be quality, that other people have bought from them and have been happy and have got the same dress and it fit them right and all of those things. But man, the world is going to end if someone else who bought that dress shows up at the same party that she's at. Those two girls are going to brawl, right? Because that's not okay. But that's the shopper's mentality of social proof and reviews. That's what reviews, customer photos, user-generated content, it provides that comfort. It lets people know that, hey, this is a good product. This is a trustworthy brand. It does what it says it's going to do. It fits the way that it's supposed to do. And when there are problems, because there are going to be problems, and people who push only good reviews, you're killing yourself. You got to publish the bad reviews too. The thing is, when you have a bad review, that gives you a chance to answer the bad review as the company and handle it and show that you take care of the customer, that you're customer centric, and that you resolve the issue. Everybody knows that no product is perfect. When we buy products on Amazon, we look at the bad reviews to say, hey, is what they're saying bad? Is it bad enough that I don't want to buy? Or is it things that don't really matter to me? Or they're common issues that I see the companies taking care of? Because we always look at the bad reviews. You want to say, why are people saying they're bad? And is that a deal breaker for me? Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing on your store. You need the bad reviews. You need hey, this broken shipment. And then you see the customer service response below said, hey, we're so sorry about that. We'll get another one shipped out to you right away, on our dime. Cool. Or, hey, I bought it. It was the wrong size. And they give a 3-star review and it's like, hey, thank you. We're sorry it was the wrong size. Did you know we do free exchanges, or we'll swap it out for you? Or, hey, I know you didn't give it. It was a present. They didn't get it till after the exchange period, but since it was a present, email us back. We'll make it right. Everybody wants to be that exception to the rule, and people want to know that. So if they see something bad and they realize that the customer handle or the company handles it, they get the warm fuzzy, they'll make the purchase. User-generated content from your Instagram, from people showing photos of them using, touching, wearing, holding, drinking, whatever the product, massively proof, because you're not saying anything. You're just demonstrating that, hey, look at all the people who believe in what we've bought or they bought. You're going to have a good experience too.
Yeah.
Super.
Are there any Shopify apps that you found helpful in improving this? Or I don't know, these signs, popping at the bottom of the screen saying, John, what these
proof
2
elements.
months
Yes.
ago.
So
Do they work?
those don't work. They used to work. So when that's the little thing that pops up on the bottom side. It says, Brian from Michigan just bought this 5 minutes ago, right? The initial creation of that, awesome. Now, if you're in a very obscure industry or niche where people haven't seen that yet, it may still work. The reality is that all the shady shithead scammer type people have used it and given it a bad name. A lot of the spammy dropship sites that aren't legitimate and all that stuff have used it and abused it to the point where it's actually, we've tested it and we continue to test it all the time to see if it changes. It actually reduces trust and lowers conversion on a site, and it increases the bounce rate. We'll see user tests from people that will actually, like when we do the user testing, we have them speak to it. They'll see it, they go, oh, I immediately don't trust this because I know those things are spammy, or I know those things are scammy. I'm sorry if you own an app that sells those things. you had a chance. It worked for a while, but it's lost its effectiveness. So definitely don't recommend using those. I do still see people using it in like the internet marketing space to promote their webinars and things like that. Maybe if you're selling to fresh blood and like new meat kind of thing, like a beginner, it might still work, but I don't recommend it. As far as apps for your reviews and stuff like that. So shoppable, if you're big on Instagram, having a shoppable Instagram is very, very important, and it can be very beneficial to your brand. There's several apps out there. I think one of them is called, is it 460 or Foursquare or something like that? It's a good one. In terms of review apps on Shopify, there's a lot of them. Looks, Judge Me, Stamped. Those are kind of the 3 that we like the most. I tend to lean more towards Stamped right now, Stamp.io. We used to be big fans of Yotpo and some of the other ones. They're still great platforms. They're just, they kind of sat on their heels while the competitors came up and offered new features and rolled out new stuff. And Yotpo's pricing is so prohibitive. Now, if you are a big brand, Yotpo still may be worth considering because they do have some custom type features that they work with some of their bigger brands where they're paying enough that it makes it worthwhile. But most companies we push into Stamped, Looks, or Judge Me.
Awesome. So iOS 14, iOS 15. What's your take on that? These are definitely challenging times for traffic and sales, because many e-commerce store owners ask me, like, if Facebook is not working great, or Instagram ads or Google ads, or what can I try instead, or how can we go back to the old numbers? Is what everyone what everyone wants, and we keep telling them it's probably super challenging to go back to, I don't know, to the previous scenario, let's say pre-iOS 14, 15. But what's your take on this?
So it's another change, right? This isn't the first time something what we consider catastrophic has happened to the advertising agents or advertising industry. It happens multiple times. I remember, back when Google first did their SEO updates, and everybody who was relying on SEO when Panda and the other animal updates came out, oh my God, the sky is falling, right? And it was, for that period of time, the sky was falling. The first time Facebook made a Facebook change, it hit us hard too. We were doing, thousands and thousands of orders a day. Facebook made a change. All of a sudden we were doing 10 orders a day, but we were still spending and buying inventory at the rate of thousands of orders a day. eh, oh my God, the world changed. What do we do? What we're experiencing right now with iOS is by far, I think, the most damaging to the e-commerce industry, and actually not any advertiser than we've ever seen. My business partner, Matt, was just at a big conference for media buyers. And normally when you go to one of those conferences, it's like, oh, we're crushing this. We're so awesome. We're so great. We're so cool. These are like 70 of the best media buyers in the world in a room going, what do we do? Nothing works. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to tell our clients. Nothing's working. There was one buyer out of Israel, out of all those people, who had something that was consistently working. He wasn't even supposed to speak. They all pushed him on the stage and said, you're speaking, right? And it wasn't something that was even duplicatable at a scale that would work all the time. It just happens to be working for him. So this is a major upheaval in the advertising space right now. And it affects all businesses. It is not your agency's fault. It's their fault if they're not testing and trying different things. But what's happening is not their fault. But I also think that it is going to separate the wheat from the chaff. It's going to separate the real businesses from the fly-by-nights that were surviving post this, but have not adapted. Now, the businesses that are going to suffer are the ones that are a front-end focused business and have no back-end, the ones whose average order value equals their lifetime value. Other businesses that are going to suffer are the ones that are reliant on trending products, businesses that have low average order value, low ticket price. Okay, because you more so than ever, you need a high AOV to be able to offset your acquisition cost. The other piece of it is that you need to have ways of creating sales that are not reliant on advertising, your email list, your customer list, the back-end sales. Okay, I know companies that they're still scaling at the same rate that we work with. Now, what's happened? Their profitability has gone down a little bit, but they haven't had to turn off their ads. What's happened is their acquisition cost has gotten more expensive, as much as 50% more expensive in some cases. And so, yeah, but their profitability on the back end from their repeat sales is high enough that it can offset that, and they're still profitable. Okay. Businesses that don't have that are dying left and right. They're the ones that are hiring advertising agency after advertising agency, going to month to month, and then they're dying.
Yeah.
It's bad. Now, the other side of it, I don't see an end in sight right now, guys. From all the industries that we're involved in and everything, this is going to be something that will we get past it? Yes. Will Brian and his team figure it out? Yes, they're working on it right now, just like everybody is. And they're all collaborating and trying to figure it out. Just like we always overcome and adapt, we will overcome and adapt again. But there is a window of a few months to maybe into the next quarter, maybe into the middle of next year, that it's still iterative and figuring it out. So you need to be reliant, or not reliant only on one form of traffic. You're going to have to look at other networks. You're going to have to look at, can you start doing affiliate? Can you do offline marketing? Can you do influencer? What else? Can you start buying and collaborating with other competitors or other people in your space, buying email drops and doing different stuff like that, or swapping out mailings, doing collaborative mailings, different stuff like that. You're going to have to get creative to kind of keep things moving.
Exactly. Especially now in Q4. I mean, it's like this time of the year, really one of the most expected for many brands, and
Yep.
it will be a super special one, right?
It's going to be a rough Q4, not just from the advertising perspective, but also from the supply chain issue that we're having right now. We have major clients that are big retailers that are not even doing what they call a Q4. They are not doing Black Friday. They are not doing Cyber Monday, because they don't even have enough inventory at normal sales levels to make it to the end of the year. So why would they discount? Why would they have a promotion? They can't even get, one of our biggest supplement companies can't even get the ingredients to mix to make, and they sell to Walmart, they sell to all these different companies. They can't even put product on the shelves in their retail, much less their online. And it hits different people at different levels. Print on demand people are getting affected heavily right now because they can sell, but the manufacturers can't get the blanks. They can't get the raw materials, or shipping costs right now. A shipping container should cost $4,000. They're costing $45,000 right now because they're all on the wrong side of the world and they're not getting back. Air shipping has gone up as well. DHL, FedEx from China, all of that are up. over 100% on average. Used to be a landed cost on a, like, this is a knife one of my companies sells or customer sells, right? The landed shipping cost on this was about 60 cents from air shipping. Okay. It's $2.10. That doesn't count the cost of the knife, which has also gone up, just the shipping cost through air. Now, these things used to be so small and light that they were profitable to ship through the air. Now, this knife sells for about $80. So they can still absorb the cost there. But if you think about that across the board, going from 60 cents to $2.10 in just the shipping cost to get it into the US, not counting the shipping cost that's incurred from you to get it to your customer. Okay.
Yeah.
Across the board, profits are getting eaten away.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging time, but yeah, we need to stick together. We need to figure it out and diversify. Yeah. So besides these awesome tips that you've been giving the audience, and I thank you again for being on the show. I know you are releasing the second edition of the book that you have previously released. So, and you're also throwing you're hosting the live conference in January, right? So, would you like to speak briefly on that?
Yeah, I'll touch on that. I'm not, again, guys, first of all, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I still love e-commerce. It's my favorite industry. It's what I've been doing e-commerce for 20 years. I'm not going anywhere. But it's a reality check that I want you to understand that we are dealing with. Everybody's dealing with it. It's not just you, but more important, what Brian said is the most important thing right now. E-commerce and typically online business is a lonely go-it-yourself world. We are not going to get through this as individuals. And I'm not trying to be all lovey-dovey, hypey, wowie, woo-woo-y, or any of that crap. I'm literally saying it is going to take the collected effort of all of us pooling resources and pooling thoughts and testing and iterating all the different brands, talking. That is what is going to get people through. That is what is going to, the ones that do come together and that do share and mastermind and talk, those are the ones that are going to last, going to succeed, going to figure it out first. Sure, you can continue going at your own, but can you survive long enough for the collective genius of the group figures out to trickle down to you? Okay. And I'm not selling you anything. I'm literally telling you, this is what we're doing. This is what our clients are doing. This is what the advertising, if they're smart, they're all collaborating. So I just want to let you guys know that's what I truly believe. But again, don't be fearful, just be proactive. All right. So the book that you're talking about, Brian, is this. This is E-commerce Evolved. I first released it in 2016. At that point, we sold over 60,000 copies. It became known as the Bible of e-commerce, not what I call it, what the market has called it. But between 2016 and now, a lot has changed. What worked then, now the principles have stayed the same, but what's working, what we do, how we've learned, what we do now has changed a bunch. I recently rewrote the book, and you can see on the back, I don't know if it shows up clear enough, but it says revised and expanded. Rewrote it. Literally top to bottom, every single line, deleted 2 chapters, added 4 more chapters, and revised the entire thing because the market has changed. Now, if you look at the thickness of the book, it's not your average guru book, okay? A guru book is like that, maybe a little bit more. Let's give him some credit. Let's give him to that, right? Okay, because it's a fluff piece. It's a, hey, look how awesome I am, buy my shit. You could buy this book on Amazon or at ecommerceevolvedbook.com and never talk to me again. And I guarantee you your business would change because I threw the kitchen sink at you in this book. And as an example, at our last BGS Live conference in 2019, pre-COVID and all that crap, I had a guy come up to me, and his actual video and story is on the ecommerceevolvedbook.com sales page if you want to validate it. He came up to me and he shook my hand and he said, hey, I just wanted to say thank you. I said, okay. He said, I was a chemist, I lost my job, was living in a warehouse, had no money. He's like, I read your book. He's like, I bought a tincture of CBD, super concentrated CBD for about $100, $50, can't remember what he said. And he's like, I diluted that into pet supplements. I used your book and I sold it. I made $50,000 and I got back on my feet. He's like, from then I kept doing that and growing it. He's like, I'm now the #4 pet CBD brand in America. And he showed me his brand and everything. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so glad you told me the story. He goes, that's not why I'm saying thank you. Yes, thank you because you got me back on my feet. You saved me. But thank you because I've never bought another course, another product. I've never read another book. All I did was follow your book and have my team follow your book. And we built the #4 company in the pet CBD space. So that his video testimonials on the website, you can see it, but that's what I'm telling you about this book. Now, I would love for you to buy this book and then come to my event, or then buy some other stuff from me, because that's my business. But if you don't, it's totally cool. But I promise you, what's in this book, what I talked about with the revenue optimization and all the different pieces, I cover that in here. I can't cover it in the full gamut, but I give you the basics. I give you tests that you can run immediately, optimizations that work, how to frame your site out, how to think about it, how to do the marketing, all of it. It's all in that book. I didn't leave anything out. So that's the book. Again, you can get it on Amazon, or you can get it from us at ecommerceevolvedabook.com. The other thing that you mentioned was the event. That's my baby. All right, the book's my baby, I guess, but the event is it's where I get to hang out with people, and I love it. So it is called Build, Grow, Scale Live. We call it BGS Live for short, and buildgrowscalelive.com is the website. It has grown. It's been an annual conference again up until COVID. This will be our 7th year of doing it. It should be our 9th, but whatever. And it is in January in Dallas, Texas, on January 10th, 11th, and 12th. And what's really cool is it is the largest e-commerce specific conference in North America. I don't know if we're the largest in the world or whatever, but we're pretty darn big, because it's where all the best and the brightest of the e-com space come to learn, to hang out, to mastermind. What I was talking about with the collaboration aspect is what we're turning BGS Live into this year. Okay. Normally it's a teaching event, which it's still going to be, but we have not been able to have the event. We're suffering, everybody's suffering with the market, the climate, the advertising and everything. We've been talking to all the ad agencies. We've been talking to all the e-com stores. Everybody is like, we need a point where we can all get together and strategize, figure things out, and develop a plan of attack and share what's working. They have chosen, not me, the market has chosen that Build, Grow, Scale Live is the event. And they're telling us, hey, we're coming. This is what we're expecting. Can you make the event accommodate that? I said, absolutely, because we all need it. So I highly recommend, no matter where you are in the world, you be there. And it is January 10th, 11th, and 12th. We're doing it in Dallas, Texas. We moved it to Dallas, Texas from where we normally do it in Reno, Nevada, because we want people to get there. So Dallas is central. It's easy for international. It's easy for West Coast, East Coast, Canada, Alaska. Anybody can fly in there very easily. And we're having the hotels right near the airport, so it's not even going to be a trip for anybody. And it is going to be this is going to be the most interesting year we've ever had. We also have we always have a great showing, but the people that are coming are like, I'm blown away by the companies that are sending their marketing teams, their CEOs, their ad agencies. It is literally going to be the who's who of the e-com space, and they're all coming to strategize and market and learn. And I'm not trying to pitch the event, but what I'm trying to say is this is not your normal event. And I couldn't say that any other year, but this year. Okay. And right now, if you're interested, we have early bird tickets on sale. The tickets are basically $700 off from the normal price currently. And then of course the price will continue to rise as we get closer to it. But yeah, so that's the event. I know Brian will have a link for it for you guys as well. And if you have questions on it and you're thinking about it, feel free to hit up our support desk, whatever, ask what you got. And check the video out, check the sales page out, check the info. It's not really a sales page. It's more of an informative, here's what we do and here's what you can expect. And then, let us know. Hopefully we can see you there.
That's awesome. Before we wrap up, I have one last question for you.
Sure, absolutely.
Are there any links, mentors, books or podcasts that you respect in the industry or have helped you get where you are today?
Mentor, a long time mentor. I always go back to this one, is Vinny Fisher. He owns a company called Fully Accountable. Very, very successful in the business space, built multiple big companies. He's been there for me, whether I'm receptive to it or not, from day one, and always been a big help. And he's phenomenal. Then other mentors that I follow, I never got to meet him, but Jim Rohn is a big influence on my life and someone that I still fall back on. I actually his book, Leading an Inspired Life. I'm actually just starting to reread it for probably the 15th time. But he's unfortunately passed on now, so I won't ever get the chance to shake his hand or say thank you. But from alive mentors, one of my people that I'm really, really following, have not had a chance to meet yet, but consume all his stuff and consider him a mentor at this point, is Keith Cunningham. Keith Cunningham wrote the book, The Road Less Stupid. He wrote a bunch of other books too, but that's the most famous one. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you read it. It will kick you in the guts on all the different levels of your business where you're screwing up, and you won't even realize it until you listen to it. And then you're just like, I do that, or I did that. Brilliant guy, succeeded in the real estate space in the 80s, built a $100 million business, lost it all when the real estate collapse happened, figured it all out, figured out what didn't work, all the different pitfalls and things like that in business and life and personal and all of that. And then started building it all back. And now he's, back in action at a much bigger level and much more insightful. And the stuff that I've learned from him has revolutionized the way I live and the way we do business.
Right. Thank you. Where can people go to learn more about you and your company?
Easy. buildgrowscale.com. That's the easiest place. I mean, of course, you can find us on social, and we have a podcast called the Optimized E-commerce Podcast. Brian's listened to it. If you're interested in the stuff I'm babbling about, check that out. But all the links you need, the book, the website, the event, anything, it's all on buildgrowscale.com.
That's awesome. Tanner, thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.